What's going on, guys? It's Masalito back with another story, and today's is pretty funny and also very stupid of me. But without further ado, let's just hop right into it. So, this all takes place back in freshman year. It was the summer of freshman year, and I was working a manual labor job during the summer. While I was working this job, I happened to meet this girl. I met her online and she was beautiful. Holy, like, my goodness. She was stunning, guys. And so I was pretty excited. But there was that part of me that was like, this kind of seems like it could be a catfish. So I asked her. I was just upfront and asked her, hey, this seems a little catfishy. Can you prove to me you're real? And she said, yeah, absolutely. And she sends me her Snapchat. And then we start talking on there. So after we start talking on there, she sends me like, side pictures of like the side of her hair, top of her head, whatever, like that. Like weird off center selfies, if that makes sense. So I couldn't quite see her face, but her hair looked the same. And from what I could see, she looked similar. And I was like, okay, well, sure, let's roll the dice. I'm assuming she's just self conscious. No big deal. If she gave me her Snapchat, that's probably a good sign. So, whatever. So we start talking, and we were talking for, like I said, probably we're talking for about a week, and things were going good, and we wanted to meet up. Now, she lived about 2 hours from me, so pretty damn far, but I worked about an hour-ish closer to where she was. So we decided we would just meet in the middle and then we would go from there. So the day comes where we're going to meet and I'm excited. I'm like talking about it at work and my coworkers are giving me a hard time, messing with me, how it is in the trades, just making fun of each other. It's all in good fun. But anyways, we get to the end of the day and I'm excited, like I said. So I asked my boss, I'm like, am I good to go? He's like, yep, you're good. Go on your date. And I'm like, all right, thanks, man. And I leave and I go to meet this person. Now, she texts me while I'm on my way there and says, is it okay if I bring my friend just because we've never met before? And I said, sure, I'll bring one of mine. Now, clearly I didn't have any friends with me because I was at work. So I immediately call up my friend Nathan. I call up Nathan and I'm like, dude, do me a solid. And he's like, what? And I say, are you busy today? He said, no, not really. I'm like, okay, would you go on a double date with me? Please. And he said, what? Is she cute? And I said, I have no idea. I've never seen her before. I've seen the girl that I'm going to be going out with, and she's cute, but I have no idea about her friend. He's like, all right, man, well, I'll go with you. And worst case scenario, I'll just tough it out for the day. So just to, be there for you, be a good friend. I'm like, oh, man, I appreciate it. And he's like, all right, so what's the plan? I'm like, well, I'm picking him up right now from this park and ride. And then after I pick him up, we'll just head out and I'll pick you up from your place. And then we'll probably just go back to my house or whatever and shoot hoops or something. Something pretty standard. And he's like, all right, sounds like a plan, man. He asked me what time. And I said, honestly, man, probably about an hour. I'll pick you up. And he's like, sounds good, dude. See you in a bit. I'm like, all right, cool. Thanks, dude. And I hang up. So I'm sitting there waiting in this parking lot. And all of a sudden, this car rolls in and it heads straight for my car. So I'm like, oh, that's exciting. Right until I look through the windshield. Guys, I was 100% catfished and I was pissed. I was pissed. I was upset and I didn't really know what to do. So these two girls get out of the car and I mean this with all due respect. They were not attractive at all. Like, I was very upset. Like, it wasn't even slight attraction, it was the complete opposite. And I was just like, God damn it. But I didn't know what to do because I am an extremely nice person. At least I tend to think so. And sometimes being too nice is a problem, and this is one of those cases. So even though I knew it was a catfish, clearly, like I looked right at her, obviously it was a catfish, I still let him in my car. I was like, hey. And I think they could tell something was up, clearly, like they should have been able to. And stupidly, I drive out to my buddy's house and I get to Nathan's. And by the way, guys, that was the most awkward hour car ride of my life. That sucked. Like, I cannot describe to you how odd that car ride was. It was just so not comfortable. So we get to Nathan's house and I walk inside. I'm like, I'll be right back. And I walk inside. I'm like, yo, where you at? And he's like, I'm upstairs. I'm like, all right. I go upstairs and I'm like, bro, we got a problem. And he's like, oh man, what? And I'm like, so I got catfished. And he said, you got catfished? And I said, yeah. He goes, so that's it? You're just the only one here then? I'm like, so about that. And he looks at me and just goes, dude, what the fuck? Why did you bring them here? And I said, I don't know. I didn't want to be mean. He's like, they catfished you. What the hell? And so I'm like, you got a good point. And so we're like, what are we going to do? And I, once again, make another brilliant choice. And I'm like, well, let's just go out to my house and we'll just shoot some hoops and kill time or whatever. He's like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, all right. So we get in the car. And once again, awkward ass car ride. I was literally just talking to Nathan the whole time. It was so weird. And we finally get to my house. All of us get out and I go get a basketball and we just start playing around. And me and Nathan are having a fine time shooting hoops. But these other two individuals were not in shape. I'll say that. And so I don't know that they were having that much fun. But to be completely honest with you guys, I didn't care. They catfished me. Screw them. So we kept playing and it was like maybe 5 minutes we'd been out there and I was like, all right, I got to go grab something from inside. And Nathan kind of gives me that look like, bro, are you serious? I'm like, I'll be right back. And I go inside and guys, not going to lie, I was being a bad friend this day. I just sat inside for like 10 minutes and then Nathan came inside and he's like, dude, where are you at? And I'm like, in my room. And he's like, you just left me out there? And I said, yeah, kinda. He's like, you're lucky your dog was playing with me the whole time. That was awkward as hell. And I was like, hell yeah, doggo saving the day. This is your bullshit that you're making me deal with. And I'm like, yeah, you got a point. So we go back outside. After we get outside, we decide, all right, well, we'll play 2-on-2. And it was me and Nathan versus these two. So it was a completely unfair game. And as I'm sure everyone listening to this would assume, we smoked them. It was, I don't even remember the score. It was just embarrassing. They didn't score 1 point. And all of a sudden, I just decided, I'm like, I got to get away from these people. Because the one girl that was talking to me kept trying to get close to me. And it was really making me uncomfortable. And I know what you're thinking. Well, why the hell did you bring her out to your house? Yep. I don't know, guys. I don't know. Like I said, this story displays my stupidity in bright neon. And so I decide, I'm like, I gotta get away from this girl for a second. So I decide to impulsively, and I am not kidding, climb my roof. So my parents had like a log style home. So the corners were crossed. So I just climbed up the side of the house like a ladder and got on the roof and then was just running around up there and hanging out up there. And after about 2 minutes, Nathan was like, get your ass down here, dude. And I'm like, all right. So I come down and now we're getting to the point where me and Nathan are over this. We're pretty uncomfortable at this point. We want these two gone. Shouldn't have brought them out there to begin with, but like I said, I'm a moron. So we're still playing and I'm trying to think of a way to get out of this. And all of a sudden, my dad and my buddy's dad, not Nathan, but a different friend of mine's dad, they were working out and they had just got back from a run and they were walking up the driveway and my dad and my friend's dad looked at the two girls, and then they looked at me and Nathan and kind of gave us that look that said, "What the hell is wrong with you two?" And I was like, "Hey." And my dad goes, "Hey, we're going to go inside." I'm like, "Okay." So they go inside, and now I decide, I'm like, I got to get us a way out of this. This is ridiculous. This has to end. So I look over at Nathan and I give him this look, basically saying, just follow my lead. Like, I kind of insinuated with my eyes to just kind of follow along. And he nodded, and I was like, all right, cool. So I looked down at my phone about 10, 15 seconds after that. And this is so screwed up, guys. I was like, oh shit. And Nathan goes, what? What's going on? And I said, my grandma just had a heart attack. She's in the hospital. And he's like, oh shit. Do we got to go? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, oh, all right, let's go. And so Nathan jumps in the front seat, thank God. And I get in the driver's seat. And these two catfishes get in the back. Now, what's funny about this is my grandma was actually downstairs. She was on the same property as me. She was fine. She was just watching TV. And so we all get in the car and peel out of there fast as hell. And we're driving all the way the hell back to where I dropped them off. We didn't stop at Nathan's. Nathan just was going to keep hanging out with me. So we go all the way back, and we were not wanting to have any sort of conversation. So we just turned on some music and cranked it up and rolled all the windows down because it was summer. It was hot. So we're like, yep, roll all the windows down, crank the music. That way we don't have to talk. And plus, it was also believable just because if your grandma did have a heart attack, you probably wouldn't be in the most talkative moods anyways. So fast forward through another incredibly awkward drive, and we're almost to the park and ride. Like, I mean, around the corner. And Nathan was on his phone Snapchatting this girl that he'd been talking to. And he had been for most of the ride. All of a sudden, this catfish's friend leans up and says, hey, I think you're really cute. Could I get your Snapchat maybe? And Nathan goes, yeah, sorry, I actually don't have Snapchat. And so he kind of gave me a look after that and just like winked at me, and I couldn't help it. I like chuckled under my breath a little bit, and I think they heard me, but once again, I don't care. Screw them. And so we finally get back to the park and ride, and I'm like, all right, sorry, this didn't work out. I gotta go. And they jump out of the car, and as soon as the doors shut, I hit the gas and took off. As soon as those doors closed and we were driving away, Nathan looks at me and he goes, you're a fucking idiot. And I said, yep, I'm not even going to deny that one, man. You are correct. You are hitting the nail on the head. He's like, why the hell would you bring them back to your house or my house? I said, that's a great question, and I don't know. I just didn't want to be rude. And he's like, dude, they catfished you. What are you talking about? And yeah, Nathan made a good point. But yeah, so then after that, we start driving back, and we get back to my house. And we didn't go back to Nathan's. We went straight to my house because we wanted to talk to my dad. And we walk in the door, and at this point, my mom's home. And my dad turns around, looks at both of us, and goes, so whose bright idea was it to do that? Because I have a feeling it wasn't Nathan's. And I said, yeah, you'd be right. And he's like, why the hell did you bring them here? And I said, I don't know. I just didn't want to be rude. He's like, dude, they fucking catfished you. What do you mean be rude? I would have just drove off as soon as they parked. I'm like, yeah, that's probably what I should have done. And Nathan agreed with my dad. He's like, yeah, you probably should have. And then we could have just hung out, just the two of us, instead of with two weirdos. And after that, we pretty much just laughed about it, guys. It was ridiculous and so dumb, but I can honestly say that it is one of the most hilarious stories me and Nathan talk about. We still talk about it. But anyways, guys, that is pretty much the end of the story. So, lesson here, be careful who you meet online, guys. And if you think it's a catfish, play it safe. Try to get them to verify. And if they can't verify it, stop talking to them. And also, have a backbone. Don't let people walk all over you. And lastly, be a good friend. Don't be like I was to Nathan in this story time. I was not a very good friend to Nathan this day. He was a amazing friend to me though. So, and he still is one of my best friends to this day. So if you're watching this, Nathan, what's up, dude? And sorry I put you through that, but you got to admit, it's pretty damn funny. Anyways, guys, that's the end. Go ahead and like this video and subscribe if you want to hear more stories about me being an idiot. And that's it, guys. Later.